Welcome to 2020. First things first, I want to wish all of you guys a very, very happy new year. From us here at RedWolf and RedWolf TV, it's been a pretty cool ride last year in 2019, and we really hope to keep bringing you guys all this top-notch content that we try to do every week. Now, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, why don't you go do that now? Or you can hit the notification bell, or all of the above. You know what I mean? Just want to get that out of the way. So if you haven't done that, go ahead and do that. So for my first review of 2020, I'm gonna look back at an epic review from 2019. I wonder if that counts as a blast from the past. Anyways, well, this epic release was only made 6 months ago, so I guess it doesn't really count as a blast from the past. Everyone was going gaga over this and turned the community upside down when it was released. The timing couldn't have been better, and it hit shelves shortly after the movie in which it was featured only hit the Silver Weeks a few weeks earlier. Say hello to the TTI Combat Master, aka, well, the John Wick 3 pistol. In the movie John Wick 3, Keanu Reeves runs around killing hundreds, if not thousands, of bad guys with seemingly pinpoint accuracy and incredible speed. As I mentioned earlier in my top 10 guns of 2019, the real TTI Combat Master is in fact a race gun and is designed to run time trials. So when the Combat Master was released, it was no doubt that it became one of those must-have guns for 2019. Now, is this just a fancy party trick, or can this gun manage to help you out there shoot just like John Wick? The EMG TTI Combat Master is licensed by JAG and ASG and manufactured by ArmorWorks under the EMG brand. It features all the correct markings as you would expect from a licensed pistol, but there's a slight problem that I will get into later. One of the first things you're going to realize when picking up this gun is it feels like an incredibly long gun, and the sight picture from the rear sight to the front sight does feel a little bit far out, but you get used to it really quickly. The rear sight is also adjustable. The lines and cuts of the gun are a little more on the aggressive side, and under the slide it reveals a slightly rose gold looking barrel. And there are finger grooves cut into the magwell and magazine base plate, which all seem geared towards speed. The undercut below the trigger allows for a higher purchase for enhanced recoil control. Well, for airsoft it just feels more comfortable. Ambidextrous safety switches are slightly enlarged, not too big to make it uncomfortable. But it's good that it's ambidextrous, and they have a large magazine release, making it easy for you to access that magazine release if you need to do a quick mag change. It also features a lower rail for the mounting of all your kinds of different accessories that are more combat centric, such as lights and lasers. One of the standout or easy to note features of the real gun is the scale-like grip. It's very unique to STI. The texturing, as I said, is very unique to STI and does translate to this pistol, but it seems to fall short a little bit of the mark for a gun at this particular price range. Everything on this gun actually fits together pretty well, and it feels pretty dang solid. Out of the box, you get a pretty darn good looking pistol as well. I mean, it is $200. It may not be a lot to some. To some, you may feel like you're paying a little too much for what you're actually getting. But you are, after all, getting a piece of John Wick, and that by itself should be pretty darn good. Now, what if I told you though, you can also get something like this, well, this, for less. This is the TTI Combat Master from Army Armament, and it's also fully licensed by Terran Tactical. Well, for the most part, it looks the same, shoots the same, and some would say looks better, and cost, here, check this out, almost $70 less. So why hasn't it taken the world by storm? Shape and design wise, these two are basically the same gun, but here are the differences. The Army gun lacks the STI license, so it doesn't have the logos or the 2011 marking. However, what the Army gun lacks, it makes up in an aspect I'm quite impressed with. The grip on the Army version is much rougher, and it feels like real stippling, whereas the one on the EMG version actually looks like it's just molded, and it isn't very flattering at all. Remember earlier I said there was a problem with the EMG one? Well, it's the grip texture, which really takes away from the awe-inspiring design of the real steel version. However, the gold painting on this Army pistol is a little off. It looks more brassy bronze than the nice rose gold that it's supposed to be. Now, they also have a few other differences, such as the Army armament and the EMG version feature different style base plates and different color front fiber optic sights, but these are small minor issues, as I'm sure real steel ones you can also swap out different base plates and different fiber colors anyways. So we got two lookalikes here, both purporting to be from John Wick's world. Now, there's only one way to differentiate them, and that's definitely not going to be looks. It's time to put these guns to the test. Time to shoot them. I'm using 0.2 gram BBs and green gas for both pistols. So, now it's time for the shooting portion of the video. Now, I feel like we've always kind of done the same thing. Accuracy wise, from this distance to the target, we all kind of know how the spread's gonna be. Relatively about the size of my palm, or maybe up to, the first section of my fingers. But what I wanna do, since these are John Wick guns, and we're here to see if these guns can turn you into John Wick, I have our greatest shooter in the office, none other than Gambit, to put these guns through their paces. So we know that John Wick can, probably shoot the fleas off a dog from about a mile away with these pistols, and we're gonna see if Gambit can do the same thing. And to up the ante, we're gonna see if Gambit can also shoot it, well, kind of rapid hit. Let's go, Gambit.
First up, Army Armament, TTI Combat Master, 0.2 gram BBs, roughly around 20 meters. Good luck to me.
How to shoot?
Trigger's a bit on the heavy side, but I did not adjust the hop up at all. 10 rounds, all hit. Pretty easy.
Alright, next one.
Next up, EMG Combat Master, 0.2 gram, stock hop up with no adjustments. 20 meter downrange.
What about that one?
The trigger is more on the sluggish side. 10 rounds, 9 hits, so there was one miss.
I did count that.
Yep.
There was a miss on this one.
Yep.
The plot thickens. Now, Gambit's gonna show us why he's the fastest finger in the East. Mag dump time. Let's go. So now it's time for the mag dump portion of the video where Gambit is going to show us why he is indeed the fastest finger in the East. Starting off with the EMG TTI Combat Master. Less than me talking. Way to go, Gambit. Set, go. Alright, if I were to grade these two guns, this is how I would break it down. Let's take a look at the first department, looks. In the looks department, both are pretty spot on, but just with minor deviances in colors and small details. But they generally mimic the same overall aura of the pistol. Army one wins because it just has a better textured grip compared to EMG's slightly disappointing finish, but the EMG one also wins out in a certain extent because it has all the correct STI markings. So I'd call this a tie, since they both have their own shortcomings, but they also both have areas where they do shine. The second part we're going to talk about is the shooting experience. How does this shoot? So this is an important aspect of the gun because our title does say, can the gun make you John Wick? So for the shooting portion, I felt it was very educational for all of us. We learned some pretty interesting things about both guns. With the Army armament gun, Gambit said the trigger was a little bit more solid. It felt more consistent, shot a little bit faster, but it could not clear out that whole magazine. So, well, take it as you may. For the EMG one, even though the trigger was a little more soft and it didn't shoot as fast, you could still clear out that whole magazine no matter what. So I guess, give or take, there's winners and maybe there's I don't want to call it a loser, but different strokes for different folks. I guess because of that, we can give a point to each gun. Now, the last point I want to sum up is something that's probably important to many of us. Value for money. How much are you getting? That bang for your buck. Now, in the value for money department, the EMG version comes in at a cool $194.99, which is not cheap when compared to the value that you get from the Army version, which delivers at around $70 less at $124.50. Now, if you are one of those collectors who are real sticklers for markings, then foregoing the STI logos and saving you $70 may well be worth it. Point definitely to the Army version. They seem pretty tied up, but the EMG version seemed to have taken all the headlines, and I feel like this is a good opportunity for us to show the Army version some love and put some spotlight on this, because both guns really managed to dot all the I's and cross all their T's, for the most part. But allow me to be a little bit honest. Me personally, I'm not a fan of the designs. Like the whole Terran tactical design personally looks a bit flat to me. However, I do understand the significance that it does have culturally as well as in the industry, which no doubt earned it a lot of admiration. But on the other hand, I have to think sometimes, if it wasn't for the success of the John Wick movies and the series, would Terran Tactical be as big of a household name as we see here today? Now, with that said, I know why a lot of you love these guns. I mean, putting aside the fact that I may not be a big fan of the styling, I can totally appreciate the effort, the concept, and the hard work, the blood, sweat, and tears that brought this pistol to the real steel world. I mean, Terran Tactical and Terran Butler, the man is a master shooter. And the pedigree of that competition really translates into this pistol in the real steel world, which then translates well into the airsoft world. But what I do wish is for someone like Airsoft Surgeon to make a truly unique and an ass-kicking version of this particular gun. Not something mass-produced like from EMG or Army, because let's face it, right? Like, these guns are basically a fancy paint job slapped onto a standard 1911 system. It's really not going to win you any trophies on a podium. So what have we learned here today? At the end of the day, what we see is you have two options. If you want a fancy piece of race gun that you're going to be able to go out there and kick some butt with, well, both of them are apt. You're going to pay a little bit more, $70 more, and get all the STI logos, well, you know which one to choose. If you want to save a little bit of money, $70 to be exact, you can get the Army version. Both guns are good, both guns have their pros, both guns got their cons. And the rest is up to you. So let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell like we said earlier. If you thought this video was cool, hit the thumbs up button. And if you want to show your friends that our hobby is pretty fun, don't forget to share this video as well. Now, my name is Mark, aka Blue Steel. If you want cool products like this, don't forget to check out our online store at www.redwolfairsoft.com. And I'll see you guys on the next episode of RWTV. Have a good one.